So, as mentioned a couple of days ago, I wouldn't be at all surprised to see a very volatile market this week, although the VIX this morning is only at 21. It's still pretty high compared to recently, but the market opened this morning higher and then immediately went quite a bit lower and now is seemingly turning the corner. We'll see what happens. And today, there isn't really any reporting news-wise that is causing, I don't think, this market fluctuation. But the news starts tomorrow with the PPI and could get even more exciting with CPI on Wednesday and National Federation of Independent Business tomorrow. So much going on this week. But let's go ahead and start off with Tesla this morning. Lots of articles this morning about Tesla no longer taking orders for the inexpensive version of the CT. Inexpensive, comparatively. One assumes that this is because the order list is so long that it makes absolutely no sense to continue to take orders. And possibly it might also be designed to encourage early adopters who can spend the money to go ahead and take advantage of the $100,000 version or the $120,000 version, which you can get pretty quick. You can order those today and get them in a couple of months. So that's what I would think. But what do I know? All I know is there will be a roughly $1,000 vehicle at some point. They'll start shipping them maybe later this year, maybe the beginning of next year. And at some point, I'm sure they'll open up the orders again to those who are interested in taking that particular version. Anyway, I also talked the other day about Tesla boomer mama, who has created a letter addressed to Elizabeth Warren, who the other day, Elizabeth Warren, had sent a letter to the board of directors or to the president of the board and complaining that Elon Musk might be taking advantage of Tesla and using, Tesla unfairly, the assets of Tesla unfairly with regard to his other companies. So again, if you listened to the video the other day, I gave you a complete reading of the letter that's going out, and 1,700 of us, Tesla investors, have signed on to that letter. And so we'll see what Elizabeth Warren has to say to that later this. Well, I'm guessing she'll never respond. I'll also be interviewing Alexandra later today because she has another initiative started now, talking about Elizabeth Warren and others in the U.S. government who seem to be picking on Elon every which way they can in ways that are unseemly and you just can't imagine the largest car company in the world. The only way, basically, we're getting rockets into space and satellites into space, 6 companies that are helping the world and helping people. And the government just seems to go just punching out at Elon all the time. I don't know why. It seems maybe connected to his politics. And this letter from Elizabeth Warren certainly seemed to be timed in a political year to cause maybe Elon to shut up. Anyway, I'm also sure, speaking of politics and Elon Musk, I'm sure you're all excited about the Trump interview with Elon tonight on X. And so he's been prepping X now for a couple of days to make sure it doesn't go down when millions of people try to get into that spaces tonight. All right. Brandon Smith is a farmer in Utah. And according to USA Today, he bought a Cybertruck, lives up in Idaho. Did I say Utah is Idaho Falls, Idaho? He says when farmer Brandon Smith drives his Cybertruck, he either gets a middle finger or a thumbs up. He says it's insane because I really am a nice guy. Smith, who's also an online content creator, has gone viral for an unlikely pairing, using the shiny electric Cybertruck to care for his family-owned 2,000-acre farm full of wheat and potatoes instead of the typical heavy-duty pickup a farmer might logically and typically prefer. His videos on TikTok have amassed millions of views, and he's only had the vehicle since April. Smith says, it's been fun owning a Cybertruck. A lot of the times when I talk to people, they're very skeptical about it. You could literally weld all day on this thing and it would still be okay. It's been good for having around the farm. Before buying the Cybertruck, Smith said he would trade in his pickup trucks quite often. In December of 2023, he was planning on trading his F-250, but he decided to configure a Cybertruck. Smith said he justified the purchase due to the 50 amp style plug in the back of the Cybertruck, which he uses to power his welder and plasma compressor. I think if you itemize down everything I wanted in a pickup for the farm, I mean, this fits the majority of those wants and needs. It was just fortunate that it also kind of looks like a stainless steel fridge. So then things just kind of blew up, Smith said about the viral TikTok on he's talking about a different viral TikTok that he made a while ago. He goes into details about that, which is not important to us. Smith, who drives a Cybertruck every day, says he serves a lot of fuel, although he didn't buy the project really to go green or save on gas. He says a small drawback has been that Cybertruck is its towing capabilities. He says while towing things with a truck has not been a huge issue for him because he lives only about 40 minutes from the town, he did acknowledge that the vehicle may not be able to tow heavy stuff for longer than 150 to 200 miles. Despite that minor towing issue and perplexed looks from people in town, Smith said he enjoys the Cybertruck and the vehicle's nothing like anything he's ever driven or had on his farm. It's really fast and it's fun to drive, he said about the Cybertruck. I've been going 60 miles an hour down one of my dirt roads and it's just gliding. He says Cybertrucks could also be appealing to farmers going forward, especially when Tesla comes out with a more affordable version. It's funny, he says, because you drive down the road and everybody's like, so much money, and yet they're all passing King's Ranch, Denali's, and other high-spec pickups, but nobody blinks an eye at those. Motor Trends, I'm sorry, that was the end of that article. And then I also picked up, just before I came on, scanned the article. Motor Trends did a comparison of the Cybertruck, the Rivian, and the Lightning. It was quite interesting that the performance was remarkably similar. Some would win on the 0 to 60, another would win on the total high speed, another would win on the towing capacity, another would win on the fast charging. And they just went down and did a whole bunch of different things. After they got all said and done, you could see that they were really kind of in a close race, quite frankly, between the three. They eventually gave the nod to Rivian, then the Cybertruck was second, and finally the Lightning. The article is super long, so way too much to do here in this particular setting, but you might want to look that up and check out the details. So as I mentioned, like last Monday, it was interesting that the market opened up and Tesla down, and then the rest of the market followed Tesla down. And that's what's happened again this Monday. Now, last Monday, of course, was the day we had the big meltdown from the Japanese yen carry trade problem. I don't think we're having carry trade problems this morning. So far, I've seen no news anywhere to suggest why the market is down or why Tesla is down this morning, but we'll look at all the details on that in a minute. By the way, this is Randy Kirk. Please like, subscribe, hit notify. We'll have some super interesting stuff later today. Brian White, Larry Goldberg, maybe Alexander Mers instead of Brian White, or maybe hers will be on tomorrow. Haven't quite decided. We'll see after I interview her later this morning. We also had, thank you very much, Dee Proctor, joining Patreon. Let that be a reminder to you to join Patreon. We could certainly use a few more producers on this show to help support the channel. And then, by the way, I got an order this morning for 4 Cybertruck bottle openers. Let that be a reminder to you in case you've been thinking it's about time to start buying those Christmas gifts, or maybe you have some other use for them. This is from News Nation Now. Bank of America CEO Brian Moynihan told CBS's Margaret Brennan on Face the Nation Sunday that while the economy is slowing, consumer spending remains in line with pre-pandemic levels. Our team, he says, a great team at Bank of America Research, does not have any recession prediction anymore, Moynihan said. Last year, this time, they were predicting recession. Okay, so let me get this right. Last year, all year, Bank of America's team, this phenomenal team, was predicting recession. And now this year, when the economy is slowing down, they've stopped predicting recession. Now, last year, when they were predicting recession, I said, there's no way there's going to be a recession. Somebody was right, somebody was wrong. This year, they're saying, nope, no recession, just a slowdown. And I'm saying we're already in the recession. Well, we'll see who wins that battle this year. He goes on to say, consumer spending rate stands at about 3%, about half of what it was last year. Consumers are feeling the pressure of high interest rates. Those signs are still positive. The consumer has slowed down. They have money in their accounts, but they're depleting a little bit. They're employed, they're earning money, but if you look at, they've really slowed down. So the Fed is in a position, they have to be careful that they don't slow down too much. Bank of America predicts 2 interest rate cuts this year, one at next month's meeting and one in December. The bank also predicts 4 cuts for next year. The Fed opted not to cut rates, of course, at its July meeting. He says, we're going back to normal. This is what Bank of America thinks. And that's going to take a while for people to adjust to, both of the corporate side and the commercial side and on the consumer side. Following a weak jobs report last week and no rate cut, American markets quickly dropped, though they haven't recovered really. Mortgage rates have fallen swiftly. That's also true and could have an impact on housing. We'll see what happens with housing numbers coming out later this week. Wall Street Journal has this morning. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries slightly lowered its forecast for oil demand growth, citing softening expectations for China at a time when market concerns over the top crude importers' outlook have been weighing on prices. So the prices have been dropping. They've been going up the last couple of days, including the last time I checked this morning. The Vienna-based cartel now forecasts demand to grow by 2.11 million barrels a day, reaching 104 million barrels a day. They had thought it was going to go up by 2.25 million barrels. So that's where you see the reduction. So it's still an increase, but not as much as they had earlier thought. This is also from the Wall Street Journal this morning. Signs of a slowdown are surfacing across the travel economy. This is one of the last ones to go. This is what I've been talking about, that we really only have 3. We have the government, we have medical, and we have travel and leisure are the only things that are holding up the economy. And this, according to the Wall Street Journal, on a recent earnings call, hotel and travel company executives, on recent earnings calls, hotel and travel company executives have pointed to lethargic domestic leisure coming from U.S. consumers. The word softness came up 16 times combined on the calls of companies like Expedia, Marriott, Airbnb, and Hilton. We've talked about Airbnb, and there were others as well that were talking about slowdown. The article goes on to agree with my recent comments about having 2 economies. The lower income folks are pulling back the most on this area of travel. Okay, well, this is, I have my opinion. Let's take a look at where markets are now. Okay, well, they have recovered. So Tesla, which had been down 5, is now down 2.89, which is about where it was at the opening. The Dow is now down 93.54. It had been down more than that. It's popping back up. NASDAQ, which had been up and then down, is now up 104. And the S&P is up 1270.78. We've got the Magnificent Seven, the rest of the Magnificent Seven, all mixed. You've got NVIDIA up $6 this morning. So we might be getting to see NVIDIA starting to move towards expectations of a very large beat next week. Not this week, next week when they report. Then you got the Cathie Woods right now, which are basically mostly down. I would say almost 100% down. And 𝐂𝐤 Corp is up a tiny bit, everything else down. But the market does continue to recover more or less. All right, let's look at the percentages. Whoops. You've got the Dow Jones down 0.25%, the NASDAQ up 0.67% now, S&P up 0.27%, and Tesla down 1.39%. All right, going on to the bonds this morning. We have got the bonds Basically in neutral this morning. 10-year is down 0.4 of a basis point at 3.938. The 2-year unchanged this morning at 4.053, which has broadened that inversion back out again. 5 and 7, so almost 12 basis points again, 11 to 12 basis points again. And the 2-month is actually up this morning, 5.295. So there you go, broadening inversions again. What does it all mean? I wish I knew. All right, let's go on to oil, see what that effect of that the OPEC statement was. So we got Texas Intermediate up $1 this morning at 77.98. Brent going back over 80 at 80.57, also up 91 cents. Natural gas up 2.24%, continuing its recovery at $2.19. If I remember right, the Texas oil fields prefer natural gas to be up around $2.50. So they struggle when they can't sell off oil at that level. It hurts their profits a lot. Gold is firm as traders brace for U.S. inflation data. So gold up this morning, 1460 or 0.6% at 2,488. Yeah, that's up, getting close back to that 2,500 level again. Silver up 0.57, also at 2774, but not able to crack back over 30 where it had been about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Copper up 1.57, up strongly this morning, back over $4 at $4.05. You've got the dollar up 0.85, almost a full percent against the yen, and barely up just 0.01%, well, 0.02% against the euro. Bitcoin this morning up 32, but still under 60,000 at 59,787. And there you go. That is pretty much where everything is. Let's go back and check one more time. Tesla now down $3. So the gains, the up market, which had been going, had recovered from the down market, is now topping off, and things are spilling back down a little bit. We'll see. I think, like I said, a volatile week ahead. All right. So don't forget, later this morning, got Brian White. That will be followed by Larry Goldberg. Maybe I will insert the Tesla Boomer Mama story in there also, or maybe that'll be tomorrow. So all that coming up today. If you haven't bought any Cybertruck bottle openers in a while, that would be something you could do to support the channel, and also give yourself and your friends a big fun item. And all that information is down below, along with the link to Patreon if you'd like to support the channel that way. I think that's all I've got for you right now. But as always, it has been great talking to you.